Okay, streaming again. Last day this week. Nice Friday stream. I think I'm gonna be casual again. Pretty sure that's more or less how I approach it every day, but you know, it's good to label it up front, I think. But yeah, just trying to keep pushing forward with my oh, that's always hard to point, with my Polygon Intersection stuff. Worked on it a little bit. I noticed a few things with certain algorithms that I fixed up a little bit more again, and I'm just kind of slowly poking and prodding at the implementations to see what intuitions I can build and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna keep on trucking. So what I'm in the middle of doing here is testing out the remove inner points function. I have two different shapes here that they're the same shape, there's just a translation of the one, and I'm running into problems classifying which points are inside the other. And by that I simply mean, if I run remove inner points right now, it just shows the points that are candidates for removal. Give me 1 second. Just in case my computer decides to stop working, I am going to just make sure I have chat windows available on other devices, just to be safe. Yeah, there we go. Alright, I'm good. Sure, no. There, it's perfect. Okay, I was in the middle of this here. Remove inner points is not done yet. It's just, I'm trying to indicate all of the points from the second polygon that lie inside the first. So if I do remove inner points, and I pass it A and B, I have this list here, and I have some incorrect things. So 0.22 from the second polygon absolutely is inside this here. Gotta do myself a little favor here. Give that a good old bannerino. Nope. There we go. Right, so maybe I should have a little reference image here, just to be safe. I think that's not a bad idea, actually. Let me do that. Let me pop over here and do a little draw. Let me define A to be this. And this is a mess of a definition. Let's clean that up a little bit there. Beautiful. Okay. And def pgb is just this Right, so if I run with that as a definition in here, and what do I need to do here? Oh yes, I can pass those both into here. I'll draw PGB as well. Let me save that just for a minute here. Let's give that a rebuild. They're a little small, so oh, something's a little wrong with PGB. Not a big deal. Oh, that's this point is in the wrong spot. That's okay. Let me zoom that in though. Let me go scale it up. Right. Okay. So. Let me change also the random here. Let's just bring it down in range. I also don't think I really need it right now, but not a big deal. Okay, let's do that. See what that looks like. Whoop! A little aggressive on the scaling. A little aggressive on the scaling. Let's do that instead. Nope, still a little crazy. Oh, I think actually what it is here is let's inspect this. Let's see. This is wrong. Also, I thought I had, well, first of all, let me shrink this to 0.1 or so. I also did think, I thought that here, okay, I was of the impression that here, oh, if I could be so, oh, I know what's going on. It's not a big enough deal for me to worry about really, but there's a CSS property there's a property I have in my CSS for other projects that causes the thickness of an SVG line to not scale with the SVG element's total scale. That's very clearly not happening here, but I don't really want to. I don't want to generate a whole HTML element. I'm just looking at the literal SVG element as a file in the browser here. So I'm gonna just not worry about that too much because I don't really need it to be perfect anyway. So that looks pretty neat. Yeah, okay, so you know what I'm gonna do though? I think this is a better idea. If I do this, I'll just multiply everything by, let's do a little smaller circles here, but these I'll leave as their base setup and I'll just multiply through by 100. That'll be sufficient to scale things up. That'll be good. That'll be good. Okay. Right, so the only thing I do want to change is this is not negative 212, it is just 212 like that. So if I bring this back down to 1, and over here I do map v f/v star 100, 100, like this, that should scale PGA. And then if I just do the same with the PGB, like this, that should be good. Let's see if I messed it up. I don't think I did though. Oh, it's just taking its sweet time here. Maybe why? I'm not sure what's going on. I messed something up here. Well, oops. I must have. Yeah, there's a paren problem here. Well, that's no problem. I can fix that. All right. Oh yes, here. Perfect. Okay, now I can rerun that. Okay. Oof. I'm a little bit off here. The reason, you know what, let's tone this down a little bit. Let's multiply things by 10 and see how that looks on the screen. This is just for a reference anyway, it's not critically important. Okay, that'll be pretty good. Also, I'm gonna flip it upside down just for a little more intuition along there. I also realize this is 1313 here, but I want it to be 1212. And I also want to copy this. Oh, that's not at all what I want to do. Copy this bad boy and place that here back as no. Boy, I'm going crazy today. Pressing all the wrong keys. There we go. Def B has this set up, and that now, roughly speaking, this drawing matches what I'm picturing in my brain. So this lower one here, let's zoom in on this. You know what? I feel as if I don't need all these red points on there. Let's simplify. Let's get rid of these. There we go. All right, there. Simple. Okay, this here, this lower one is A. It has no, not that. Come on. Okay, A, right? These sets of points are this drawing here, which green. I'll make the first one green as a reference. Perfect. It's a little hard to see, but I think that's fine. I think you can, that's readable. Okay, so A is green and B is the black line here. So it's pretty obvious here. So my problem now, to get back to that, is when I do remove AB, right now I'm listing all of the points in B that should lie inside A. So we should see only one value that's true. And it should be, so here, this is what I'm trying to iron out. This is wrong. This is reading as, so if we ignore these indices for now, this function is currently telling me that it is false, that 2, is inside there, but that is very clearly incorrect. Because we have 2 right here, and it is obviously inside this polygon. So what's going on with that? Well, there's a little bit of tracing around that I've got to do. If I do this, point inside convex, this this is not necessarily a robust solution either, but I kind of expect it to work, and it does not. So the convex version still does not correctly identify this point as being inside there. Okay, good to know. But it suddenly is saying that it is true that these points are inside the line, and that doesn't make any sense. That's not correct. So there's a bit of work to do here. So I need to figure out what's going on with that. And the first thing that I want to do is kind of break down the steps of what is actually happening here. So here, I'm just asking the question, is the point inside the polygon that you give it? So I can break down this first thing by simplifying what I'm asking just a little bit. So if I run polygon inside, or sorry, point inside, and I pass it the polygon A, and I pass it the point 2, 2, it says false, and I need that to be true because it is true. So interestingly enough, if I disturb this a little bit, if I move it over, it is now true. But if I put it back to 2.1, 2.1, it's false again. If I put it to 3, 3, it's false. If I do 2.9, it's true again. So there's something along the diagonal in this particular case that's causing this to incorrectly report that there are points not lying inside. So if I extend this point to something that's for sure outside, so 13, 13 is somewhere out here, it is also false, which is fine. If I do, let's say 12.9, just to follow the same logic here, that is also false. So at that point, it's correct. So for the time being, I can at least focus my thoughts onto why this is incorrectly stating that 0.22 is outside of the polygon, because that's not correct. Actually, while I'm at it, if I print A out, point inside, if I modify the polygon A to not have this little jog out here, if I just make it a square, a really simple shape here, right? And I ask if 2, 2 is inside there, I want this to say true. So it also says false. So there's still something wrong with this function. Okay, this point inside convex is now correct. So what is happening? There's something going on. When I call point inside, it runs this algorithm over the polygon first, this clip ears algorithm. And what does that do? So if I run clip ears on A, it gives me a list of triangles. So I was working on this yesterday, and I discovered this morning that what I thought was a working algorithm was a little bit off. Clip ears will produce lists of triangles, but I had an issue where it was assuming there were 3 points it had that were exactly a straight line, and it assumed that was a triangle. That's a sort of degenerate case. So this Clojure's algorithm returns only 2 triangles like this that fully enclose or that fully describe, that just breaks down this green polygon. Essentially what this is doing is saying point 0, 0 to 10, 0 to 5, 5 is a triangle. So it's taking this alone. Then the next triangle is 0, 0 to 10, 10 to 0, 10. So a human would be able to figure that out in this case, but for more complex polygons, this algorithm would just chunk away at it. It's a little bit naive, and it's probably pretty slow, but it works for the cases I'm working on now. But what's happening is, because it's checking if a point intersects each triangle, there's something going wrong kind of at this step here. Map point inside convex. So what I want to do is define A1 as first of clip years of A. So A1 is 0, 0, 10, 0, 5, 5. And then A2 is the second triangle in this case. Okay, so I have A1, A2, they're different triangles. Now, if I do point inside convex, if I look at A1, and the point I still care about is 2, 2 as my sort of testing case. So there's something wrong there. It says it's false. It should be true. It says it's false. So my point inside convex function does not correctly report points as being inside a polygon when the point is exactly on one of the polygon line edges. So I can fix that, or I need to fix it, and I think I can. Well, surely I can, I just have to figure out how. That's always the trick. So, oh, this, unrelated, this comment has to go somewhere else. Oop, my bad, there we go. Clip ears. Okay, so like I established, what I want to be true is that if you're looking at a polygon and you have a point that you want to see if it's inside, if that point is exactly on an edge of the polygon, I want the function to say, yes, that is counted as inside the polygon. And if that becomes true, then I think my function should report correctly. So this is what I have to figure out next. So point inside convex. It currently runs a simple check, which will be true for convex polygons. Any point inside a triangle or any convex polygon will, if you draw a line from the midpoint of that polygon, so the average position of all the other vertices, if you draw a line from there to the point that you're considering, it'll create a line. And then you can check if that line intersects 0 times, you know that the point is inside the polygon. If it intersects 1 time, you know that the point is outside. And that is theoretically it. So actually, And that's true if I'm only considering the convex scenarios. I think that's true anyway. So I'm going to go with that for the time being. So what I actually do wonder is, instead of checking for even here, if the number of intersections equals 0, you're good. That shouldn't really change anything, but let me check now. Unbalanced parens. Why is that? What did I do? Oh, I have an OR here because I was trying something earlier. That's my bad. Okay, that builds. Okay, instead of even, theoretically, if I check for 0, I think this makes sense. But let's go ahead and have a look. Let's see what happens here if I run this check now. It's still false. And A1 will also be false. Still false. Okay, so that doesn't solve anything. But for sake of curiosity, if I check if there's a point inside that's convex, what point is for sure inside this first triangle here? Let's take 5, 1. That'll definitely be inside there visually, and that is true. So that seems to be working reasonably well. The problem is, let me have a look here at what point inside convex is actually doing, right? It's running this. It's taking the midpoint of all the points, and then it's running an intersection check from the midpoint to the point. So this here, polygon intersection, now is the next thing to look at. And what is this doing? For every line in the first part, it's checking the lines in the second. For line segment intersections. So things are getting a little confusing here, because I've got just sort of functions building on each other. Arguably, the way I've done this polygon intersection here, I could kind of reasonably combine these two, but it might be, the reason they're separate is polygon intersection returns back the point or points that it finds that do intersect. So actually, I may as well run that polygon intersection. Let's take the midpoint of A1. Actually, let me take myself a step back here. Let's do here point inside convex proto. Okay, and instead of returning the count of this, I'm just going to make it, oop, I'm doing the wrong function, of course. Always a risk of copy paste. Okay, here. Let me just run the polygon intersection. So this should return a list of points that are intersecting. That's what I want to check. So now let me go back up to this, right? A1, 5, 1 is true. Let's run the proto. This is a kind of messy approach here, but this we expect, this makes sense, right? Because equals 0 count of an empty vector is true, right? So that's correctly working. But now if we do A1, and if we take 10, 1, that's outside. 10, 1 is approximately here. So that's outside. So there should be a point in the list. And there is. So because the count of that list will be 1, it's not 0, therefore the point is obviously outside of the triangle. Nice. Now, my question is, what happens when I run this function with the point 2, 2, which I know to be on this line? What does that return for me? It returns to me a single point, 2, 2. So that's interesting, right? It seems to be correctly indicating that there is a point. However, the issue is I actually don't want it to return a point, right? I want it to discount this situation, right? What it's doing is saying, oh, it will be considered outside because for the question, is there an intersection between the midpoint and this line? There is, and it happens to coincide with the point that you're checking. So in this case, I can run a certain check, I suppose. I suppose this would be okay. Where prior, if I go have a look, where am I here? Right, what I would prefer is, let me do this. For this proto, I can just mess this function up a little bit. If I do the i's intersections, right? So there's kind of two things I want to check with this. What am I trying to do here? Yes, okay. So, what's a good approach here? I don't, when, does this return true or nil? It does return true. When nil, this should return nil. Yeah, okay. So an empty vector is not nil, and I should know that because I'm pretty sure that's true. So if I do take from this, no. Okay. There we go. Okay. So when first is nil, now let's not try to get clever with things here. I'll be a little more explicit. So let's just write it out the lame way, and then we'll see if there's a more clever way to write it. If well, actually, so there are only two situations in which I want to return true. Let me write them out here in a comment. Point inside if when point when intersection equals point, or point inside when count intersection equals 0. So let's just write that out as an OR statement, nice and simple. So what's the better OR statement to do first? Probably the one that's more likely to be true right away, so that it doesn't have to evaluate the other thing. So here I can actually just do equal count intersections like this, right? Or otherwise, right? Otherwise, trying to think of any other situations where your count could be greater than, like your count could be 2 points or more. I'm trying to think about that. But I'm going to ignore it for the time being. I think it can only reasonably be 0 or 1. So the other situation is, or all nearly, which is a bit of a, it's a helper function that checks approximate equivalence with floating point values. So all nearly like that should be reasonably okay for the time being. Okay, so if I do all nearly equal first of intersections, is that nearly equal to point? If it is, then consider that point to be inside the shape. So let's see if my thinking makes any bit of sense. What I would hope is that this is now true. Hey, look at that, it is. So now let me run something I would know to be outside. 1.92 is outside of the triangle A1, and that's false. Okay, we're on the right track here. So now let's swap these definitions around. Well, let's just do this. And let's comment this one out. Okay, so using that set of functions, that redefinition of everything, what I want to do now is run remove inner points A, B. Still incorrect. Maybe because that was the wrong call. Still not right. Okay. Well, that's a little troubling, but maybe there's still something to learn here. Did I actually do this? I might not have. False, false, false. Okay, still work to do. There is still work to do. Let's see here. I hope everyone's having a good day, by the way. Feel free to join in and chat if you'd like. Talk about, questions you've got, programs you're writing, the hobby you're working on, anything like that. I'm interested in what people are up to, so feel free to chime in and share. And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube later or on Twitch at some other point and you haven't followed or subscribed or anything like that, please do. It's helpful for me. I want this channel to slowly grow, get a little more attention, a little more care from me, and those kinds of things, those follows, those subscriptions, comments and stuff like that, they help. So that's my appeal to your participation. All right. Let's see. I thought I was onto something here, and I might be, but I'm clearly not there yet. Alright, so considering this setup here, right, I do have okay, A1, 2, 2 is true. A2 is also true. Okay. So it seems to be correctly reporting that there is a point inside for one of those situations. So, why then does it not work in the general case? Right, if I go here, oh, wait a second, this is not true. I was wrong about that, right? If I do point inside, right, if I take A1, 2, 2, it should return true. It does, that's good. But if I now take A, it's now true as well. Oh, maybe I was just confusing myself and I evaluated into my REPL incorrectly. Let's have a look. Remove inner points, A, B. Okay, we have a few trues now, so let's have a look. 0.22 from the second one, is that inside the green polygon? Yes, it is, right here. Okay, that's great. 12, 2 is this point here. That is not inside the polygon. 7, 7 lies on an intersection. It's exactly on the line, and that is inside. Great. Here, that's outside, and the last point is also outside. So we have this point and this point correctly identified as the inner points of this polygon, which is very exciting. I'm quite happy with that. So now I wonder what happens when I run Polygon Intersection between A and B. Do I see a correct list of points here? 7, 7 is an intersection. Okay, that makes sense. 8, 2. That would be here. That's correct. 10, 10, right here. Arguably correct. And 2, 10 would be right here. So that is also correct. So we're on track to take these ideas and put them together to create a union somehow. This is going to be the part that I have to stumble my way through a little bit here. So that's going to be interesting. The reason this is going to be a little bit challenging is because I don't have a solution yet for making sure polygon, like the point draw order, is going to be maintained. If I just, like, the way I'm using point lists is that the order is consistent, and you just take a point off the list, draw it, take the next, draw it, take the next, and that will create your polygon. If you take that list of points and toss them around and randomize them, right? If you say the order is not important, you jumble the points and you end up with a polygon that is crisscrossed and not valid to what you intended. So that's no good. So effectively, I have to find some approach either to maintain order or to discover the correct order to draw out a polygon. And I don't know if that's actually possible. I mean, I can do... this little idea just crossed my mind, and I'm gonna test something out here. So the idea I had was to completely disregard, once I found the points to remove and the intersection points, if I completely discard the idea of order of any of the points, I will have a point cloud of all the correct points remaining, but not a connection to the points. Then my question would be, can I find the convex hull polygon of those points? And I do believe there is a way to do that, but in order for me to see if that makes sense, I am going to I'm going to make this function get that list for a minute. And I have this little helper here, vectif, and these are things I'll have to clean up because I just started putting little helper functions kind of in as I needed them, and I'm sure they're useful, but I want to put them in good spots because some of these will become useful for other algorithms too. Also, some of them probably could be optimized a little bit. Pardon me. But that's all okay. It's all okay. Right. Okay, so the removals, right? I can effectively take, if I concat PGA, PGB, and remove the inner points. Oh, wait a second, that's actually not totally right. I actually have to do this sort of thing twice, right? Because I need the removals from the one and then the removals from the other. Yeah, so that's not totally accurate yet. So remove B. Let me I'm just making a little temporary structure here so I could double check my brain. Yeah. PGA, all I need to do is swap these and then call this one A, not B. Let's run that. Okay. Where am I at here? Okay, remove these. Okay, so inside A is, oh, I labeled them wrong. Okay, 0, 0 is not inside B. These are wrong. The labels are wrong. So 0, 0 is not inside B. 10, 0 is also not. 5, 5 is. 10, 10 is. And 0, 10 is not. And 2, 2 is here. 12, 2 is not. 7, 7 is. 12, 12 isn't. 2, 12 is not either. So we have the correct setup of those, which is very nice. So I actually am wondering now, there's a slightly, I don't need to map index this actually. I kind of just need to, I just need to filter to get these two lists. So let me change that. But first I'm gonna go to the washroom, so I will be right back. All right. Let's have a look here. So, where did my function go? Here it is. That's okay. Okay, so instead of map indexed, right, I don't need that. I actually can just do filter with this function point inside PGB PGA. That should work. Let's double check it. Five, 5 and 10, 10 are inside B. Let me once again visually check that that's true. 5, 5 is inside B. 10, 10 is inside B. Yes. Okay. There we go. So let's make the same change here. Filter. Excuse me. Okay. Those look correct. It's a total of 4 points that get removed, right? So I should be able to concat those, and then I can just vec diff. If I vec diff concat PGA PGB with concat RMA RMB, that will give me, it should give me the list of points that were not considered to be inside on the inner portion of any of that. So that should leave me with this point, this point, this point here, this point here, this in here, and this here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points, I think, if I am visualizing it in my mind's eye correctly, which is true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if I were to convex hull that, right? A convex hull basically, if I understand it correctly, is just like asking for this, the tracing, like if you connect the dots along the outermost, like if you were to shrink wrap my analogies are horrible. If you were to take if every point, I'm going totally off the rails. If every point, let's just assume the 2D case, is a nail hammered into a board at that coordinate, the convex hull is if you take a rubber band or a string and you wrap it tightly around the outermost points. I'm pretty sure that's the convex hull. So there's one subtle problem yet, and that is the convex hull of these points isn't the shape I want, right? Because it would draw this shape like this. In fact, if I take this, if I just draw this shape for a minute, if I define PGB temporarily to be that new set of points that I got from that other thing, if I draw that out, well, the order's all wrong. So there you go, there's an order problem. But if that were, let me manually correct that actually while I'm here. 0, 0, 10, 0, 0, 10 has to go later. 010's at the end, I think. Well, so there's a few things I have to fix, right? Order matters, and I have to figure out a way to fix it after I manipulate these things. Okay, there we go. So this new shape is the convex hull, I think, of the two polygons. Convex hull. Let's double check. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong about that. I'm not sure. Let's have a look here. Yeah, convex hull of the bounded planar set, the rubber band analogy. There we go. Okay, I wasn't wrong. I was just communicating it poorly. Yeah, so that's fine for something like this, but that'll only produce convex. Oh, of course, the name is literally in the title, Convex Hull. I'm being ridiculous. So there's a few issues, right? The convex hull could maybe help me get the correct order, except for the fact that I have to also consider, like I need to add in the intersection points as part of the drawing, because I want to produce a union, a non-lossy union of the shapes, right? So I absolutely need the consideration of the intersection points, otherwise I lose information. I need this point to be part of the shape, and this point and this point and this point, they have to be there, because the hull completely drew over this, and drew over this, which looked nice, right? Like that might be a useful thing, but it's not the polygon union. That's something different. Okay, so let me go back to this here. I'm on the right track with this. The other thing I need to do is actually produce, since I need the intersection points anyway, I should calculate them. Polygon intersection, PGA, PGB. Okay, there we go. Now, really what I need is to just concat these two lists. It's a little hard to read. I could increase the readability of this later, but okay, so following this logic, I should now have a list of 10 points when I run this on AB. Let's count that. Oop, that's my bad. 10 points. Okay, perfect. So now so I'm arriving at, let me just draw this now, and I'll manually reorder it, just so I have a visual, right? Let's do def PGC now. We're in the money. And let me blue PGC. All right, let's see what this looks like without reordering. It's going to be wrong. I already know this. It's all wrong. So all the points, like all these points look to be correct, right? But it's a bit of a jumbly mess. It's not what we need. So I'll just manually trace it out, right? Just so I have the visual. Okay, so I know the intersection points are all tacked on the end here, these here, and that's why, like, they shouldn't be on the end of the list. They should be somewhere intermixed based on what line segments they interacted with. And that's a bit of a hard, I can't wrap my head around a solution to that yet. But yeah, so be it. I'll figure something out. Let's do this. Okay, 0, 0, 10, 0. This point is going to be 8, 2. So let's move that. This is really slow and obviously not what you want to be doing, right? You want the computer to do all the work for you. That's the whole point. Otherwise, just draw things on a piece of paper, right? 12, 2. So we're at 8, 2, 12, 2. This is now 7, 7. Where am I at here? 7, 7. This will be 10, 10, which is, I know, is going to be redundant, but I'm going to keep it in there for a moment. It's not redundant, I should say, it's unnecessary because it creates a straight line with the other segments between it. But I have a function that can clean that up, which is pretty neat if it works. 12, 12. This one will be 2, 12. Oh. 2, 12. 2, 10, and 0, 10. All right, let's see what this should look like. There we go. Okay, so this blue outline is the result I want from the union operation of these, between taking those two polygons as arguments. So I'm getting closer because I have all the correct points. I just do not have all of the, or I just don't have the correct order. So that feels like a step in the right direction, though it might be harder than I think to get all the way there. But I got here, which is fantastic, really. I'm quite pleased. Okay, so there's only a single point in this list that is unnecessary. So the true count of the minimal set of points to make this shape would be 9. So I have a simplify segments function that should return 9, yes, and it should have taken out 10, 10, which is exactly what I see, which is very exciting. So I'm going to copy this back into here just to visually check that my function worked. Oh, I put an extra, that's my bad. Okay, so there should be no visual change when I run this. Oh, am I just being crazy here? Yeah, so no visual change, but there is one segment less. So between 7, 7 and 12, 12, there was 10, 10, but it got removed, which is fantastic. Okay, so the thing I need next is now to figure out how to bring it all together. Actually, this is now the wrong name for this function. Remove inner points. Let's see. What's an easy, oops. I don't know that this will actually work. Or I don't know that there is a simple sort of solution to this. If the polygon's convex, that's always the it's always the thing with these the convex polygon case is always the easier one. This is clever though. Sort the points based on the degree. But if it only works in the convex case, what can I do? Because a polygon union is almost guaranteed in any practical use case to be concave in some way. Might be this is a good clue either way though. So the reason it wouldn't work in a concave scenario is because the degrees between any 2 points might not. Oh, I don't know. Just trying to think if it is even possible to do in a concave scenario. Yeah, see, centroid, so the reason that doesn't work for a concave thing is because the centroid of a list of points could be outside of the intended polygon. It is also, I suppose it's true that you can't, there could be multiple tracings of a set of points. Is that true? Yeah, you can't. Yeah, if you, yeah, that, There's any number of concave tracings you could do. Yeah, it's not gonna make, it just won't work. Okay, so this, This is an intriguing challenge for me now, because I really don't know what would actually make sense. So the thought coming through my mind is I kind of need to keep track of the line segment index that reports a point intersection because then I can take that and kind of trim it. I can slice it at is that a right thing to do? Let me see here. Trying to think out some sort of algorithm that makes sense here. Oh man, I really don't know. Well, I could make a I can make a trim function which gives, if I give it 2 line segments, it'll return for me 3 line segments, where the cutting segment is the second line you give it. Or do I want trim to consume a line? Let's make a trim function here for a minute. Yeah, let's start with that. That seems like probably something I'll need. So trim. Is trim already a function in Clojure though? I wonder. Trim doesn't seem to exist, so I'll go with that. So trim, segment A, segment B. Boy, names are getting hard, right? Because there's all kinds of different names for geometric things. LA, LB. We'll go with that. That makes sense for now. Okay, so all I have to do, if B is going to be the cutting line, if that's the assumed thing, right? I want to trim A using B. Trim line A using line B. Oh man, I think I should spend a whole week writing better doc strings and stuff like that. Really flesh out the library as it goes. But I'm gonna leave that for now. Good enough for now. Okay, so trim line A using line B. So what I need to do there is just let intersection. I need a better short form for intersection. X. That kind of makes sense. It's a cross. Yeah. Let's do that actually. X. Not perfect, but it's shorter. Unnecessary, really. I worry too much about the names of these sorts of things. But it looks nice when it's shorter. That's just going to be fine for now. Okay. Okay, so if I let the intersection be line and segment intersection between LA and LB, that will be either a point or nil, right? Let me double check that. This is the wrong REPL. Let's take the line 0, 0, 10, 10 and compare it to the 10, 0 line 0, 10. So there should be at 5, 5 an intersection point. But if I make this -10, there should be nil. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. So when there's an intersection, right, I want to return 3 lines. Line 1 is going to be first of line A and X. The second line is X, second line A, and the last line is LB. Is that a useful structure? Let's see if that makes any bit of sense here. So if I trim, you know what? I kind of think trim only needs to return LA, not LB, right? It's just kind of excessive. Let's see if it works. 0, 0, 5, 5, 5, 5, 10, 10. And then that's the trimming line. So that works nicely. So let's actually just, I will just assume that I don't need this for right now. Okay. So that's trim. And trim is useful because it will give me new segments to work with, right? Do I actually need that though? Maybe. Just thinking about oh, this is wrinkling my brain right now. Having a little bit of a tough go at this one. Let's see if there is some prior work on find concave polygon vertex order. I don't think there is because find the polygon center, compute angle, order points. It only works for convex. It'll fail when points form concave. I'm pretty sure this isn't like possible, right? Concave hull. Yeah. Yeah, so this is exactly what I was, this makes perfect sense, right? Given the same set of points, you will have multiple possibilities for a concave tracing of those points, right? So, this makes sense. You could choose an ordering that minimizes total length of the edges. That might be wrong. It's an NP complete problem as well, so so I don't like a heuristic algorithm in this case because there is an exact ordering for the union of two polygons. I was just trying to not have to keep the order up front, but that's not helpful either. So I have to think my way through this a little more carefully, and I'm sure it'll involve kind of tracking which segments have been trimmed, which is fine, I think. And then essentially, if I keep pairs of points as a temporary sort of edge list, then you can order those by just the first value of your line must match the second value of the line before it. So you could come up with a sorting approach that way, which I think might be a good idea. That might be a good approach. So instead of, in this sort of area here, instead of just building lists of vertices, I could build lists of lines and then just remove out lines that don't matter and redraw lines and stuff like that. So maybe that makes sense. Yeah, maybe that'll work. Let's see if there's something I can do to come up with something. Right, so if we use the first polygon as the starting point of whatever union algorithm I come up with, we can start walking around it. Actually, okay, let's try something. Let's have a look here. If I go a little bit like this, so I have these three lists of important points, all of the inner points, RMA and RMB, and the intersection points. What I want to do now is have a look at, let's just start with A for a minute. And I'm going to create a partition 2, 1, take inc count PGA. I think this makes sense. From cycle PGA. Okay, let's see if that makes sense. Okay. There should be here a list of, if I count this, 5 edges. So what this partition 2-1 makes edges, right? 0, 0 to 10, 0, 10, 0 to 5, 5, traces out the first thing. So that's good. But what I want to do on this is as point, line, point. And this function is sort of silly. We do contains value. Collection key. Oh, wait a second. This is silly of me. No, that's right. Is that right? Yes. No, I'm just this is silly. I don't need this function. Right, so all I need to do is say, in this case, right, do it the lame way. For line in this set of lines, check if, yeah, you do a map contains value for the line RMA. See if I'm on the right track with this. Remove inner points. Oh, wait a second. Am I? No, that's fine. This function doesn't work the way I need it to yet anyway, so let's have a look here. I have an iterator. Why is it? Oh, right, I'm using a for loop here. What did I do wrong? Okay, so for line in this thing, right? Shouldn't that work? Map. Oh, once again, I'm just missing things. I could do. Let me change this just a bit here. I really feel like there's cleaner ways to write this, but they're not coming to my brain right now, so instead I'm just doing it the way that I'm thinking of now, and I can hopefully fix that up as I go. So there's true and nil and true and true and true and nil and stuff like that. So what's the smarter thing to do about this? There's got to be a slightly simpler way to do this, right? And the reason I'm trying to do this is I'm just trying to have it possible to filter my list of lines such that any line that has an intersection point in it will be tagged to be modified, basically, because that's important to do. I feel like I'm kind of on the cusp of something correct, where instead of dealing with the points, I actually want to deal with line segments, and all I have to do is have these functions, instead of working on points, work on segments. So what I can do is basically create, instead of lists of points to remove, I can create a list of segments to remove, right? And once I do that, once I have the line segments that create polygon A, and the segments that create polygon B, and the segments that are trimmed at the intersection points, then I can remove inner segments, and then I can reorder segments by their points, and then drop the second thing. So I have returned a unioned polygon of points. I think that's more or less what I should really be trying to do. So let me write that idea down. Instead of creating lists of points, create lists of line segments that make each polygon. For segments with intersections, just trim them. For segments with intersections, just trim them and only keep the trimmed parts. Then remove all segments flatten the list of all these segments together. Right, then so flatten the list of all those segments together, then remove all segments that lie inside either of the originals right. Finally, or reorder the line list by chaining reverse of partition to step 1. So I have to figure that out, which is fine. Then finally drop map drop last over list of points, no, over list of lines will give a correct ordering of points. Should give a correct ordering of points. Okay, so that's a step in the right direction. I have a concept that I think should work, which is encouraging. So the way to kind of fix this up a little bit so let me do this here. Let me make just a little helper here. Polygon to lines. And what this will do is take a polygon and turn it into lines. Very simple. It does exactly what it says on the tin. So into a vector, do these things. Let's actually do it, let's write it this way. Thread last, oh, wrong order. Thread last, let's take the polygon. What I want to do is cycle it, then take count inc count pg. I think that'll work, yeah. And then here, just partition to 1. And then into vector, right? Does that make sense? Let's check. So A is a polygon. Okay, that is almost what I want, but I do want here I would have to do into vec again here. I don't know if this is clean. Well, I know it's not exactly clean, but oh, I also did that in the wrong spot. What am I missing here? Take to A into vec take to A. Huh, I thought that would work. Missing something. Oh, right. Here, it's the partition. Yeah. I'm going to assume that I don't need this for now, and if I run into actual issues, I'll fix that up, because I do want it to be as straightforward as possible. Oh boy. Screen's slowing down a little bit again. Okay. I'm letting myself get a little distracted. I can tell it's a bit of a Friday vibe. Right. To continue with the logic I've got going on here, this polygon to lines thing just chunks my polygon points into lines in a reasonably efficient way. So what I want to do now, right? Let's go over here. If I do LA lines A, line segments for A, LSA. Yeah, that's fine. Polygon to lines of PGA, LSB. What I need to do here now is figure out there should be only some segments from these two lists that have intersections, right? Right, in this case there will be, for all of there will be, if I concat these two, there will be a list of 10 lines, and there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that have intersections as part of their line. Then for each of those things, for each of those lines, you just do a trim at the intersection point, and then you can flatten all of that together. So that's what I want to try to do next. What's a clever way to do that? Right. Oh boy. Oh man. Okay. So I have a list of lines. Now I need to figure out if they have intersection points. I've already done this on the order of the whole polygon. This shouldn't be that hard for me to think through. Oh, what I could do is try to just, let's not try to be clever about it. If I just, let's get rid of this and start this over a little bit. If I just try to run the trim, can I make trim work with just a point, a line and a point? I can make a function that does that. Let's do that. Defin trim at point, LA point. So using this same idea, oh, except maybe that's a bad idea because the risk here is just that well, actually, let me see what happens if I trim a line. Yeah, if I do line segment intersection of line A, let's make it 0, 0, 10, 10. And line B, let's make it 5, 5, 5, 5. Does that return a value? No. Okay, so I can't goof it. But let's see here. Can I focus for another 20 minutes? Let's say 20 minutes is probably about as much patience as I have for the day. I think I could pull that off. So, trim at point is yeah, I will do it. So what I'll have to do is check if point is on LA. So I'll only do it like this. When on line point line. Oh, see, there will be a lot of little fiddly work I have to do where I make sure my order argument is consistent across similar calls. So when on line point LA, see, this is what I mean, right? That they're inverse from each other, and that's not exactly user friendly, so I'll have to change it. So if when on line point or line point, when the point is on the line, then you can trim, otherwise it's nil. That's what I want. So in order to do that, I just have to let x be line segment intersection between, oh no, I don't even have to do this. It's only, yeah, I don't have to let anything be anything. I can actually just trim the line directly. That should be nice and easy, right? I could just do first. Doesn't even have to be LA, it just has to be, yeah. Trim is maybe the wrong word, split. No, trim's fine. Trim at point is fine. Yeah, so that is the operation. Otherwise it's nil. So if I trim at point Yeah, trim at point, the line 0, 0 to 10, 10. And the point I want to trim it at is 5, 5. This should succeed. Ooh, it doesn't. Oh yeah? I'm sure that's related to this. Messy, messy. There we go. So it does work. It gives me the 2 trimmed points there. Oh, hey, John. Oh, man, and is this, okay. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of messaging here. Hey, Wingwrath, is this? I'm a little confused just for a second here. Is this legit or is this bot stuff? just a little wary, that's all. I might assume it's real because that would be exciting. It's legit? Cool, cool, cool. All right. Just ended your stream. Hey, also, hey John, looking for a working buddy? Glad I could be part of that. You're not bots, Chrome Badger, thank you. I wasn't expecting a raid today, as you might be able to tell. Thought what I was doing looked cool, so we raided. Hey, you know what? I do appreciate that. Thank you. Just curious, what were you streaming? Were you doing programming as well? Were you doing games? On Twitch, it's way more likely that people are streaming gaming, so just curious. Anyway, maybe I overreacted. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Welcome anyone who hasn't seen this stream before. Just doing Django development. Nice. I've actually never used Django myself. I, as you might be able to tell, don't currently use Python. I'm in the depths of the Clojure world right now. So, so we'll see what I can do. Yeah. So if there's anyone. This looks wild and new. Yeah, if there's anyone tuning in now who might not be familiar with Clojure, it's a Lisp language, as might be very evident here, right? It's got the parentheses all over the place, and it's got prefix notation, so those might be things of note that is different from, say, Python, which I would assume some people have familiarity with. It's really quite useful. Is this Clojure? Well, first of all, Clojure is actually spelled C-L-O-J-U-R-E. But yeah, there's parens all over the place. Clojure.org. And the parens, so I taught myself Clojure, and the parens were confusing to me initially, but I do promise they actually become quite nice as you go. They're quite nice for things like, let's say you want to multiply an arbitrary amount of numbers together, right? You get good, simple lists of things that you can multiply together. Parens are the most beautiful thing. Hey, Chrome Badger, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. There might be a chance. I might have already missed it. There was maybe an animation above my head. I'm not certain. I'm going off the rails today, everyone. I'm going off the rails. But Sayung, yeah, parens are are absolutely glorious in my opinion. Oh, hey, there it is, a follow animation. A little bit slow on the uptake there, but you know what? I'll take it. Oh, and Hannylicious, you also... No, you just did a raid. Yeah. The reason I'm a little confused right now, I have not the most powerful computer running my stream. It works, but the chat window is a little bit delayed there. So I'm using the chat on my phone as well, and they're just not synchronized with each other, so I end up seeing everything twice. It's a whole crazy mess. So there's a good chance that a few people have started following me, and I have not seen it on my screen yet. So anyone who I've missed with a follow, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I hope everyone who's tuned in is having a good day so far. I'm having a pretty nice day myself. It's, as you might tell, it's actually a little warm today. I'm not wearing any long sleeve shirts or anything, which is a nice break, but blah, blah, blah. What am I doing? Let me try to continue that. So I'm using Clojure. Oh, and by the way, Hannylicious, you're not dumb for not knowing how Lisps work. If you use Clojure, if you're using Python, it's quite a bit different, right? So, not dumb if you haven't seen stuff like that before. That would be crazy. I use Clojure to make, I'm making a CAD programming library. And there's a few kind of reasons and goals I have for doing that. If I, oh boy. If folks would permit me, very nice weather in Toronto. Yeah, so I don't live in Toronto. I live about an hour away from Toronto, but I would assume the weather's quite similar. It's pretty windy, but it's really nice and warm. If folks would permit me a moment to wax poetic about what I'm trying to do here. Love Toronto. Also dig the Hamilton Stony Creek area. Oh yeah. So nice to have a bit of Canadian recognition here. That's cool. I'm into that. I actually live really close to the lake as well, and it's the Stony Creek area, Hamilton. Nice place for sure. Good region. No real complaints. Just petty complaints, but you could do that anywhere. All right. I'm using Clojure to design a sort of as simple as reasonable CAD library that I can use to program parametric designs. This is a design doc on my GitHub that I made with my library. And the idea is to build these sort of interactive documents that specify an actual design for things in a partwise fashion, and then in an assembly fashion. So this here is a dumbbell design using scrap steel at a shop, right? So the metrics of interest are the final weights, right? So this is just quite a rough prototype. But the idea here is the user can kind of just specify some inputs and get a design as an output, right? Hey, Wingwrath, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. I think it's cool too. Obviously I'm biased, but I think there's a lot of power with these sort of ideas. The general keyword for what I'm working on is programmatic CAD, computer-aided design. That's a dumbbell for gorillas. Yeah. Well, that may be the case. One thing this particular view might not convey very well is scaled to a human. So this is only, the plate mass of one plate is only 3 pounds, so there's 4 plates, so this whole thing is only 12, let's say call it 13 pounds. So it's not too big, but it's a little hard to conceptualize because there's no easy way to judge scale in this case. So obvious weakness of what I'm doing here. But if you permit me another moment to show a few other examples of a few features that I'm hoping to get to as development for this ticks along. These are some older sites that I did, not with my own library, but with some other stuff. Clearly read the pounds incorrectly. Oh, maybe you were thinking it was kilos, right? Because a kilo weighs more than a pound, yeah. Anyway, no big deal. So another vision of this kind of stuff I want to keep building. This is an old thing I wrote. And at the time I used Python and something called CAD Query. And I produced this website which has some 3JS viewers embedded in it. So the usability of this is maybe not the best, but so this is just a static code. You can't run it in the page, but you can view the output of what this was. And you can and then I assembled the design here, and I actually was able to, with this CAD query library, I was able to cam the 3D models and actually cut it with a CNC laser. And I actually built this thing. Turns out I don't use it anymore, but that's beside the point here. The ultimate point is this kind of a document I think could be really powerful for sharing the actual design files, adding some power to them to let you specify some parameters, and sharing with the written word and the pictures the design intent behind the different decisions. So I really think that this as a concept is quite powerful. I'm just trying to build it in the Clojure ecosystem because it has some rather powerful library functionalities that I quite like. What I'm working on today is much less visually interesting, but in my opinion quite important as well. I'm working on some of the low-level stuff that'll be important for making a robust CAD library. Today, I'm attempting to have a Polygon union strategy, and I'm achieving that to, mild various success. So not every day is a glorious winner of a day, but things improve at a steady pace. Let's see if there's another good example I could quickly show. I made this tiny thing. I have bits and pieces of interactivity, call them demos. That's maybe a bit generous to call it that, but it's like, a tiny little web tool that lets you create CAD data structures. So, with this experiment, I can make different pages and documents that have little interactive components so that the user doesn't have to be a CAD genius, or expert would be a better way to say it, to be able to make reasonably good designs. And is there maybe anything useful here? I'm not sure. Yeah, this is an old design. Anyway, these are some of the ideas, and you know, web viewers and stuff like that. All seems pretty useful, obviously. Lots of work to do. So anyway, if any of that makes any sense, thanks for listening. CAD for the people, yeah, yeah, John, nice. CAD for the people. If anyone still tuned in is unclear on what I'm trying to do, please go ahead and ask questions. I love talking about this. It's totally possible that I am glossing over details that are obvious to me, but might not be obvious to everyone. So go ahead and ask questions. I'm totally cool with that. But yeah, today I don't have a ton of time left, which is a real shame because I just got injected with excitement again, you know, now that there's people engaged in the chat and viewers watching. So maybe I'll stick around a little longer. We'll see what I can pull out of my hat. Yeah, so if there are people watching who don't know in general what Clojure is all about or what programmatic CAD even is, go right ahead, ask questions. I can try to explain stuff. I'm absolutely not an expert. I'm self-taught in most of these topics, but I am good at design and I am good at CAD. So that's where my strength lies. But I can explain things if people have questions. If people just want to chat about stuff that they're working on, other projects, how their day's going, all of that is totally cool too, by the way. Not everything is about programming, so it's fun to talk about other stuff too. So just, you know, join in, chat away. It is absolutely the case too that sometimes there are people who tune in to my stream that know more than I do. So if you have a question, there might even be other people in the chat that can actually direct you to better resources than I could. So you know what? Maybe that's a good way to go as well. All right, enough chit chat from me. Let's see if this does anything useful for me. It's not particularly clear. By the way, this should work if I just uncomment that. Have a look here. Ooh, it's not working the way I expected. Oh yes. I actually have to restart this session. All right. So if it was, I think it was, yeah, Hannylicious. If you're still chilling in the chat, what kind of Django project were you working on? Was it a personal project, a client thing, or if you're still around and interested in sharing that, I'm curious. It's fun to hear what other projects people have going on, you know. Of course, you know, no obligation to share if you don't want to. Restart this. Load the code. Let's have a look here. Okay, and open up the namespace, eval that, perfect. Oop. Let me just check this now. Admittedly, I'm kind of just spinning my wheels at the moment. Not doing anything critically important. Okay, what is going on here right now? I have a check here. Point inside PGA, color it green, but it's not actually working the way I thought it would. So let me ponder for a moment. It's very possible that I just haven't tangled those changes appropriately into the right spot. I've been known to not do things properly. Sometimes it happens. Okay. Here we go. Oops. All right. Is it gonna work this time? I've just gone and confused myself, unfortunately. What if I try to, let's see here. Maybe it's, I hope it's not a float cast problem. It shouldn't be. Well, I might just not worry about this for now. Yeah. That's peculiar though. I spent a bit of time working on this point inside algorithm, and it's displaying incorrectly now, and I'm just a little concerned about that. Because it really should work at this point. But for the sake of the next thing, for the sake of just trying to get this going a little bit, it actually doesn't matter for right now, so I am I'm just gonna forget it for now. Okay, so we can continue on this path for a moment. So the goal, Polygon Union, is basically, so if I comment out the blue line, you can maybe see it a little easier. This green shape and this black shape are two separate polygon paths, and I want to have a function that will union them. And what that means is it'll turn both paths into a single path with no interior lines, right? So it'll look like this blue path only. Just 1 second, let me refresh this. This is the union of those two shapes. So the function, I have a few sub-functions that get me closer to this, but none of them yet do precisely what I need. So for example, I have this I points here is the intersection points function, and I believe it should work no problem. If I refresh that, oof, well that's a big old mess. Okay, so very clearly something's still going wrong on this side of the on this here, but I had it working in this Forge library. So somewhere along the lines I lost the plot and things have started to go a little bit wrong, unfortunately. Now Is that the end of the world? Absolutely not. I just have to figure that out off stream, of course. I've got let's say 15 to 20 minutes left in me, and then I do have to get going soonish. But prior to that, I'll keep trying to figure this out a little bit. So this is concerning me, unfortunately. It's just not correct for what I need. So, okay, let's get back to A and B. Let's pull up the visual that is helpful to me. And we'll hide the blue. This is not a very elegant way to do the graphics. It's very hacky, right? I'm just commenting things in and out and manually rebuilding the SVG. There are absolutely hot code reload approaches that are much smoother. I just haven't set it up yet. That's all. Due to laziness, which is quite silly. And in other projects, I go right away into a hot reloading setup with a thing called Figwheel. I don't know why I didn't do it here. I think it's because I didn't expect this to go as slowly as it is. So I just whipped up something quick, and then I haven't switched over to something more robust yet. But that's the way the news goes. If I do Polygon Intersection of A and B, it does give me the correct points. Did I just use the wrong function here? Huh. No, it is. Strange to me. Oh well. It might. No, that's not it. Well, whatever. Okay, so this here now, what I'm trying to do now is just make a new list of all of the edges that will form the outside of the polygon. So the LSA is lines of A, LSB is lines of B, and I just need to tag and remove the lines that are part of an intersection and replace them with their trimmed versions. So to do that, what I can do is theoretically I don't need these either, so I'll comment them out for now. I have the intersection points. If I map this function here, trim at point, will take any line, and if you have a point on that line, it'll cut the line into two lines with that point being the center. So what I can do is map the function trim at point. I have to map. No, I have to do it. I'll just do a for now. For every line in concat this has to be into a vector, so I can concatenate them in the right order. Wait, I can concat two lists, can I? If I concat list 1, 2, 3 and list 4, 5, 6, what order does that turn into? Okay, so that's fine actually. I don't need this for right now. That should be okay. Forget that. I'm thinking out loud, but I'm not sure that this is necessarily clear to follow. So apologies if things are not immediately obvious to what I'm doing here. They're not necessarily immediately obvious to me either. Okay, so for line in concat LSA, LSB, for every line in that list, what I want to do is map the function trim at point the line. Oh, let me do it as a partial trim at point line. So that function just needs one argument, which is the point, so I can map that over the XS. It might actually make sense to construct this for the other way around. So let me try that. I'm not sure what's better, but it hardly matters for right now. So for X in X's, this for loop, by the way, is really similar to Python's. They're not even called loops technically. They're list comprehensions, if I remember correctly. They're really nice though. Okay, so I actually don't know which of these ways would be more efficient, so I'm just gonna guess that doing it this way will be, but who knows. Trim at X, no, trim at the line here X, and then map that over concat LSA, LSB. Okay, so does this make sense? Does this do anything useful for me? Trim at point, remove inner points A, B. Hey, wow, okay. So what have I just done here? I have a whole bunch of nils, and that makes sense because yeah, so this here, this was a line from the 0.55 to 1010, and it got trimmed at the 0.77. This also got trimmed. Ooh, this here is a degenerate case. So this line is not a line, it's just a point. But I've got a 7/7 duplication here. So that I have to consider that situation. Not sure what that noise was, but whatever. Oh, it might have been my Bluetooth speaker. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Technology is terrifying me, man. All these beeps and boops. Okay, so we have unfortunate situations here where I've got another line that's like a degenerate case of where it's just the same point listed twice. So something's not perfect, but I feel as if this is a step in the right direction, which I'm happy with, because I might be able to just deduplicate the list of points at the very end. I could run a simplify over it, and it'll remove any lines in the middle of a straight line segment, so it might be a non-issue. Okay, so oh, I also actually, I don't need to map this. I can actually filter. I can run a filter of that. That should remove all the nils for me up front. Yes, okay, so we have a nicer situation. Perfect. Map, filter, and reduce are phenomenal tools. I love them. And I actually could map cat this, I think. No, apply concat to this. Is that gonna work? Okay, so now what I've done here is create a list of new lines that have all been trimmed. That's fantastic. So what I excuse me, I have now a list of the lines from A, a list of the lines from B, and a list of the points that are trimmed from each of those. Now I need to remove from A and B the lines that these came from, which I should do somehow in this same sort of list here, but I have to think about that. Be right back, by the way. I gotta go to the washroom. I won't be long. I will not be long. Okay, let's see what I can do in the next couple of minutes here. I keep saying I have to go soon, and then I want to keep going just a little bit longer, you know? It's it's the curse of, well, I guess it's not a curse, I don't know what I'm talking about. Forget that noise, I just want to keep working for a bit. Okay, so I have a few things that are helpful to me. Wow, what a statement that was. I actually also realized there's one thing I could change that would make this even easier. So if I change, right now this trim at point function, if I run it with a line, which I just am defining as just a list of 2 points, which makes reasonable sense. So 10, 10. This, if I want to trim it at a point that's not on the line, so 2, 3, 2, 4 is not on the line, it will return nil. It won't work, right? And I had that set up for filtering purposes, but I realized what I could do instead is have it return the original line. So trim will either successfully trim and return you 2 lines, or it will untrim, it won't trim anything and it'll just return you the line that you gave it. It'll basically say nah. If I use that, then I don't need to reconstruct this list. I basically just transform the list of lines into a new list of lines where every line is this, it remains exactly the same unless it was trimmable, in which case it's now 2 lines. So it will strictly be the same length or greater in terms of the count of lines. I think that makes sense. So let's change that. So trim at point will either, here, all I have to change is this. If online, return this list here. Very simple. If it's not on the line, you just return the line itself. So now with that change, whoops. Oh, what have I done now? There we go. Right, so now if I run trim at point with this example, it returns the line with no change whatsoever. But if I do it with, say, 2, which is on the line, now I have a list of lines. I have 2 lines. By the way, I do wonder if I should do list. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. Oops, wrong. Hey, what went wrong here? Oh yes, of course. That's my bad. Right, so it's either a list of 2 lines or a list of 1 line. Okay, but that is useful. That's a good idea. That's a better way to do it. So I don't need to filter this because it will not filter anything out anymore. I just leave it as a map. But now if I run remove inner points, it's somewhere up the history list here. Whoa, there's a whole long list, and that count should be 16 points, I believe. And whoa, 40. That's way that's way not correct. Okay. Now what's going on with that? There's a lot of repetition, unfortunately. I also think I messed up the structure of the list approach here. Sorry, checking my my setup here. One minor downside to streaming my programming is there are times where I want to just think and not speak, right? Because I don't know, like I'm thinking rather abstractly or whatever. But that just really is like a boring segment of the stream. So I do my best to try and verbalize my thinking as I go, but I get a little nervous about that sometimes. So I am totally lost as to why this list is 40 lines long. So I'm just going to poke around with this because I only expected it to be about 16 lines long. So the list of lines from A and lines from B, I happen to know that these test polygons are both 5 lines long. They're these shapes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that this concat lines from A, lines from B should give me a count of 10. So if I do this, it does give me 10. That's great. So now, oh, I'm realizing I know why. It's nice that my trim at point returns the line itself, but the way I've done this now will loop, it'll duplicate. This makes sense because the number of intersections that this function returns is 4 points, and the number of lines is 10 points. And so what I have happening here inside this map function is for every line, run the function with the 4 different points. So I'm going to get a whole bunch of the same line duplicated over and over and over. And then every once in a while I'm going to get a correctly trimmed line. So that's what's going on here. For every point, except, yeah, so it's 4 times 10 is 40. That's exactly what's going on there. And so I have to rethink this approach just a little bit. What's a good idea then, huh? How about that? Well, so okay. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'm going to restructure this to go, I am in fact going to run this for loop over the lines, and I'm going to revert this idea, this trim at point idea, back to returning nil. So when this, do this. Nice and simple. Otherwise, it'll return nil. So if I do trim at point, trim some line at some point that's not on the line, nil, right? Oop, oop, all wrong, all wrong. Here we go. Nil, perfect. That's what I need. And here, for line in concat LSA, LSB. For line in all of those lines, I want to do a thing, and that thing I want to do is when, well, first of all, I want to let trims be filter trim at point yeah, trim at point, the line, partial trim at point for that line over x's. Yeah, so those are the trims, and that will either be empty or it will be or it'll contain one split. So then what I want to do is an if count of trims is greater than 0. Ooh, that's a if count trims is greater than 0. There we go. If that's true, then you return first from trims. Otherwise, you just return L. I think that might make sense. Let's try that out. Okay, so if I remove inner points from A and B, I now have a weird looking list. This isn't right, but it's shorter, so we're kind of on the right track. Okay, let me check what this structure looks like. Concat LSA LSB. What does that look like? Okay, so it's a list of lines. Good. Perfect. But here, oh, this shouldn't be first trims, it should just be trims, right? Maybe that's what's wrong. Let's have a look. Let's have a little checkerino. Okay. Okay. We're getting closer. It's still not correct, but we're almost there. What for L in concatenate this, return L. What is that returning here? Yeah, okay, so that's still just a list of points. That's perfect. Now, let trims be this. What does it mean to return trims? What does that look like? In each case, trims is going to be either, okay, there's nothing there. What is this? This doesn't make sense to me. If I do a trim, why would that return a single point? That doesn't make sense. That shouldn't happen. In a perfect world, that shouldn't happen. Am I running the right function over this? Yeah, L. Okay, so the first... So this is a point that I should... What does map look like? Oh boy. Okay. John, you didn't know today was Friday? Boy, oh boy, you must have been locked in your room writing away or something. Just losing track of time. Have you seen, the outside world? I shouldn't be messing with you. Trying to write, yeah. Man. My younger brother is writing his thesis too, while doing he's got a full-time job and everything now, so you have a daily reminder on your whiteboard asking if you've been outside. Hey, sometimes these things you got to take drastic measures, right? You got to stay focused on your health, and if you have to write it down, it's better than nothing. But my brother's been writing his thesis too, and he gives me copies of it to like edit little sections at a time, and I'm happy to do it. But he's having a hard time writing it too. Sometimes it can be a challenge. He struggles with his supervisor not being able to provide feedback on the basis that on the frequency that he needs. His supervisor is apparently over capacity. They have a lot of different students that they're advising, and he just doesn't get the time and effort that he needs. At least that's how he's describing it to me, and oh man, it's a bit of a shame. But I'm doing what I can to help him with, at least the editing side of things. I'm not in his field, but I do know I can spin a phrase from time to time if needed. And it's also good to get kind of this sort of outside view of things from time to time, so that's helpful for him. Yeah, a good supervisor, I mean, doing a thesis or doing work or anything, it always makes a massive, massive difference, right? I've got one more major paragraph to write on the article. Then you can send it off to the journal. Looks like it'll be accepted after these revisions. Oh man, that is fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that. Well, I mean, don't want to celebrate too early, but that's major steps in the right direction, I'll say that much. That's great. That is fantastic. Nice work, John. Nice work. Oh, that's exciting. I'm excited for you. Okay, what was I doing? Right, so in the case where... So here, something strange is going on. Been working on this paper for like 3 years. Oh man. Yeah. I honestly I can't say I feel your pain because it's a unique thing. I've not had to write such a paper. But a 3-year project, nearing the end of that, there's no way you don't have some kind of relief, right? Like it's a big undertaking. So fantastic work. Seriously, that's awesome. Oops. Okay, for real this time I have 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes to try and accomplish something reasonably useful, and then I do have to get going. I have been really excited this past hour on my stream because of a raid and a little bit of attention on the view side of things. So if you're watching and you're not chatting, that's cool. Just thanks for tuning in. That is fantastic. I hope to see you all, or whoever wants to, around again in the future. Yeah, it's been awesome. I like it. And I like that, John, you're able to get a little bit of work done while I'm making noise in the background, and other people are a little interested. Yeah, John's got the right idea. Give this guy a follow. Yeah, John knows what's up. I'll take it. Okay. 10 minutes, 10 minutes. All right, so something is going a little bit weird here. So when I had this, instead of map, I had filter. What I expected was that it would correctly filter out anything nil, but it was for some reason not filtering this part in the way that I thought it would. Because, oh, you know what? Maybe I have to kind of MacGyver this function just a little bit. Let's go back to this and just see. Right, so this list of 8, 2 here, right, for example, is not what I expected. What I expected was this structure here, which is 10, 0, 8, 2, 8, 2, 5, 5. That's what I want to be in that spot. So I have to just structure this a little bit differently. And what I think I can do there is filter on a predicate where it checks for not nil, which I believe is sum. I'll just do not nil. Is not nil. Ooh. Yeah, okay. So let's have a look here. This, I'll just do not nil, this whole result. And I won't use partial because that is slightly confusing. Yeah, let's go with that. Oh, and I do have to take that out of there anyway. Yeah, so this should, I think this will work the way I want it to now. So let's have a look. Wrong function. Still no. Okay. Fascinating. Well, if I instead, let me see here. If I return not a list but a vector here, does that make it behave differently? I don't really expect it to, but you never know. Let's give it a shot. No, no difference. That's fine with me. Well, let me I'll do it differently. I will first create the map and then I will filter it after. So if I do thread last and okay, this filter not nil. Any? Is any the right? Oh, no. Any will return true always. That's not helpful to me right now. Let's get this part done and then I gotta go. Okay. So here, this part of the function, I'm doing this in a really confusing way. Okay, so what I want to do is map this function trim at point over the x's. Map this point over the x's. thread that through the filter function, okay? And that should be the trims. Let's see if that's correct. Yes, it's super messy looking, but that is correct. Now, the last thing I actually want to do is I really do want to just make this structure flat. So if I flatten trims, that'll be wrong, right? Flatten. If I flatten this, does it look right? Oh, well, that's just a list of numbers. Not at all what I need. I need more structure than that. Okay. So, okay, let's do filter not nil. That gives me now a list of filter not empty. Not sure if this is correct. I'm just messing at this point. Okay. It did not apply the filter. That's fine though. Oh, what I can actually do is this. Apply concat to this. That should work because it's a thread last macro. All right, I'm losing the plot now. Okay, we're stepping forward to the right kind of thing. I realize this might, oh, I know why. I'm using this all inside a for loop. And it's the for loop that I actually need to smush down, as it were, into its own more concise structure. That is what I need to do. So, in fact, I actually forgot what I was trying to do earlier. Okay, here we are. I'm on the right track. I don't need trims anymore. Now what I just need to do is if count trims, do that thing, otherwise return L. So let's try run this for loop now. Okay, so now I've got a list of lines that I can apply concatenate to this, and now clean up how that looks later. Let's see if this works. Okay, close. Not quite, but close. The reason for that is probably because I have this not in its full structure. So let's try that. There we go. Okay. Now we're basically, let's count this. I bet this count will be 10. 13. Okay. That is closer to what I expected, but not totally correct. Or maybe it is. Okay. It doesn't matter. I have to get going at this point. I have to go do a workout, which is a nice way to end the day. Okay. Thanks everyone for tuning in and having a look at what I'm working on. Thanks for letting me talk for a bit about my ideas as to what I'm actually trying to do. I really appreciate that. If there's anyone who is interested in what I'm doing and wants to keep following and stuff like that, I have a YouTube VODs channel with all the past streams uploaded there. You can go check that out and subscribe. You can follow here. You can, if you have to, if you want to support with money and things like that, there's a donation link and there's a Patreon. There's no obligation, of course. Any little bit helps, and blah, 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 blah. You all know the drill, I'm sure. But in general, I appreciate people tuning in and viewing. It's really nice. I really enjoy that. And feel free to come check it out at other streams or at other stream times in the future. I do my best to stream in the afternoons Eastern time on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm open to changing the times around as things go, but those are pretty consistently what I've been doing so far, and it's been working out nicely on my end. So please feel free to come and check it out. I would love it if you'd come back. I'm going to go. Have a great weekend. I hope you have a great weekend too. Good luck with your work. Good luck with relaxing, taking the breaks you need, staying safe and healthy, all that jazz. I hope everyone has a good one. That's it for me. Goodbye.